Good evening, my viewers. Tonight I'm going back to one of my themes, health and fitness, and I have a local celebrity here with me tonight. I have Mary Preenon, who was formerly with WHUD and several other radio shows as a news director.
Correct.
And I remember her. It was 1 or 2 years ago.
Many years ago.
But let's talk about you, Mary, and let's talk about the lovely book you read about maybe helping me take the last 20 pounds off. I've lost 50 pounds.
Good for you. That's
20
wonderful.
more to go.
Good for you.
And I hear you've been quite successful
I've also lost
from
50
losing
pounds.
weight.
And thank you, first of all, for inviting me on your show. I really appreciate it.
It is my honor to have you on the Georgia.
This is my book, and it's called I'm Lazy and I Love to Eat. And basically, it's a true story. It's a comedy, but it's true about my life. And as we were talking before the show, it took me 19 years to lose 50 pounds because I kept yo-yoing all the time like so many people do. I started writing it, like taking notes back in 1998 when I had started a new job in public relations, because my life was like, crazy. You're running from meeting to meeting and not eating healthy, and just letting the pounds kind of grope up on you. And I started taking notes. And then a few years later, I said, you know what? This might make for a good book, because I have a lot of funny but true stories in there about what happened to me during my journey. So.
It took you 19 years to write it. Yes. I have a book in me. It's probably been in me 40 or 50 years.
It doesn't matter
how long. What do I have to do? Sit down and start writing then?
I would, what I did when I decided I really wanted to get serious about when I finally started losing the weight, and we'll get into that later, but I had put together an outline, and a friend of mine who was a professional editor actually helped me with it. And she read the book and she said, well, this chapter kind of belongs here, or put this with here. And she really kind of guided me and helped me. And a friend who's a graphic artist designed the cover for me. And so that's kind of how it got put together.
And so again, I'm lazy and I love to eat.
And I love to, and this
is it by Mary Preenon?
It is by me, and this is supposed to be me here on my little hammock. I live in Cortland.
Wow.
And that's New York City
in
the background.
And that is in Cortland, way upstate. It's
Cortland Manor right here.
Northern Westchester.
Right, and these are my cats here, and then
you love cats?
All the junk food around. I do love cats.
You don't feed the cats junk food,
No, I don't. No, they get very expensive food.
Okay. But give my audience a few tips on how to lose weight, how you've done it, and was there a website or something you said?
Well, there's so many different ways to lose weight out there. There's a lot of products, there's a lot of plans. A lot of them don't work, unfortunately, or sometimes people will go on them and then lose the weight and then get off of them and then gain the weight right back. So I had tried just about everything under the sun. And I said in the book, especially some of those diets where you're not eating very much at all. And I said by the end of the day, I was ready to eat my car because I was so hungry. But what I finally discovered was that, the old, mom, as mom used to tell you, eating healthy and exercising and combining the two. And it was finding the right gym. And you don't have to go to a gym either, but what worked for me was, after going to many, many gyms and being very unsuccessful, because a lot of times you walk into a big gym, and I said I was the before in a sea of afters, and I was like, I really don't fit in here. So what I decided to do, my neighbor had told me about a local gym right here at a local hospital. And I went, and I found that it was so different. It was small.
By the way, I'm going to let you mention it.
I can mention,
right in my area,
New York Presbyterian Hospital.
Helps New York Presbyterian Hospital,
the Wellness Club.
Wellness Club.
And it was small. It's hardly ever crowded. The people were friendly. People actually talk to you in the classes. And to this day, I have good friends that I had taken exercise classes with. There's always a trainer there to help you. And it's just a very uplifting kind of atmosphere. and there's, it's mostly, people, I would say 50 plus. So there's no young kids running around in teeny tiny little outfits that you're going to feel intimidated by.
Right.
And I just really liked, not that I like going there initially to work out. It was like, well, I'm going there, I'm going to see, Judy, the receptionist, or I'm going to see,
They're
this
so nice
person
at
here.
that hospital.
Right. And so I would go there and would chit chat, and then I'd start, lifting some weights or doing the treadmill or the elliptical. And then I got into a routine. So I combined this with healthy eating. And we had talked before about, watching the two things, sodium and sugar, watching both of them, and all of a sudden,
smaller portions.
All of a sudden, I started to see significant changes that I hadn't seen in years, and I thought, wow, you know what? There's something here, and it's really not that difficult. It just took me a long time to figure out how to do it.
And when you said exercise, you don't have to exercise overly, minimal exercise.
You can do,
walking.
You don't even have to join
minor
a gym.
Lifting weights with 10 or 20 pounds. I do that.
Right.
And it helps build your muscles.
Biking, maybe for like roller skating, swimming, anything, as long as you're moving. You could do a hula hoop. I mean, as long as you're moving a little bit every day. And I also wear a Fitbit. So this will track my steps. So today, this is a slower day for me. I've only got about 5,000 steps on
5,000 steps?
I try to do 10,000. That's what they try
Where
to
do you
recommend.
get those Fitbits from?
You could get them anywhere.
Are they expensive? Or?
This I think was $129.
Second person I've run across.
You can get them at any, major
They tell
retailer.
you blood pressure and everything.
This
your heart
doesn't.
rate.
This will tell you your heart rate.
Wow.
And
how about not the blood pressure?
It doesn't tell you blood pressure, but it will tell you how many miles that you've done and how many minutes. Now today it says I've exercised 20 minutes. So it's a great way of reminding you, and this will even remind you to get up and step. I work in an office all day. So if it sees that if it senses that I'm sitting for a long period of time, it will say, take me for a walk. So it will prompt you to get up.
Something I saw recently in an office with sort of like a little treadmill under the desk where while the secretary is working, she's also working out her legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be
a lot of companies also have the stand-up
I've
desks.
heard that. I don't know if I'd like working in an office where I had to stand 8 or 10
minutes.
No,
I mean, I stand up occasionally. I walk, and there's a few of us that walk at lunchtime. So I do a lunchtime walk, and then in the evenings, like today would be a beautiful day. Sometimes I go to the Kensico Dam because I work on White Plains. Beautiful. You can walk there an hour, and it just goes so quickly, especially if you're walking with a friend and you're chit-chatting.
My wife and I walk in Veterans Park a lot in Yorktown, and it's beautiful. Or down by the river in Peekskill.
Peekskill is beautiful.
We've got a river walk with
river
cherry
walk.
blossom trees.
Oh, it's gorgeous
and
down there.
A boardwalk. Peekskill's come a long way, and that's my hometown.
And there's also in Croton Landing. I go there a lot. So there's tons of places in Westchester to walk.
So Mary, going through the book, it's your life on dieting and giving tips on how people can lose weight. Is that the thesis of it?
The thesis, basically, I try to address the problems that all of us have, especially, women over 40 and men.
I'm only 39.
Oh, well, I'm 29. No,
39 plus. I won't say times 2 minus 1. I hope you're not good at math.
But the message is, this is so different than anything else because it's funny. It's a comedy. I kind of make light of myself. But I at the end of each chapter, I give like little tips, like here's what works to motivate me. Here's what I like to work out. Here's what I like to eat. And in the back, I also put really super simple recipes for busy people and even a grocery list. But I made it funny so that people can relate because so many times we all get down on ourselves and, you get into this vicious cycle. Like maybe you have a bad day and you eat, bagels or cookies or whatever, and then
a bag of potato chips with salt and everything on it.
You say, oh, well, I ruined this day. Well, maybe I'll just ruin the rest of the week. And then you get into this vicious cycle. But and I talk about this a lot in the book, and that's probably why it took me so long. But what you have to do is just say, okay, so what? I screwed up today. Big deal. Who cares? Who's counting?
How long
Tomorrow
ago
I'm getting back on the track.
Mary, how long ago did you write this book?
It was published a year ago.
A year ago only, so it's a fairly new book.
It's fairly new.
Can it be bought on something like Amazon?
It's on Amazon.
How would they access that?
You just type in, here, I'll show the book again. I'm lazy and I love to eat.
I'm lazy and I love to eat.
On Amazon, it's also on barnesandnoble.com.
You said that too fast. How'd you say?
Oh, Amazon.com.
Okay.
And barnesandnoble.com.
Okay.
And
have you ever appeared at Barnes and Noble? Have you looked into that?
No, but I've been and you were there at the Croton Library.
Yes.
I recently did
That's
a reading.
where I recently re-met you after hearing your voice years ago on WHUD, and you were unforgettable. See, I didn't forget who you were. I says, I'm going to have her on my show.
It must be the name.
No, when I saw the theme of your show, too. The theme of your book, losing weight and being fit. And nutrition has a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What started me kind of really thinking about the fact that, gee, I better do something about this. We were talking before the show.
Sure.
I've been diagnosed with AFib, atrial fibrillation, which for people that don't know is a irregular heartbeat.
Right.
For me, it was always food related. I noticed it the first time after I ate like a heavy, salty meal, and your heart feels almost like it's drag racing, and then it kind of goes into a weird funk, like it's doing the mambo, like bump, 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 bump. And for me, I just had occasional episodes. So I went to a cardiologist, and he said that, well, let's try to control it with food and watching your sodium, which has been great for me because it really did make a difference. But the first time I saw him, now you're gonna love this story. I walked in and I was probably, I don't know exactly what the weight, I'm saying I was probably around 210. Because at one point I stopped weighing myself because I got so depressed. But I knew because I couldn't fit into, size 16 clothes. And I knew, okay. So he looked at me, and a nice guy, but at the time, he was very young, didn't have a good bedside manner, and he said, well, you're heavy, but you're not the heaviest person I've ever seen.
That wasn't very diplomatic.
The first time in my life, I was speechless. I was like, and I'm thinking in the background, he did not just tell me I'm fat. No, he did not just tell me that. And I remember just looking at him going, okay. And immediately after I left his office, I called my best friend, Mary, who I dedicated the book to. She passed away a few years ago in a car accident, but I dedicated the book to her, and I know she's looking down and laughing. But I called her and I said, you won't believe what this horrible man said to me. So she said, oh my gosh, well, let's kidnap him and we'll stuff him with junk food until he's 500 pounds and then he'll be heavy. But afterwards, after getting angry with him, I started to realize, it wasn't the best thing that he could have said to me, but it was something I needed to hear because nobody had ever told me that. Nobody would ever dare tell, you wouldn't say that to somebody, but I needed to hear it. And I thought, wow, you know what? He's right. He's right. I am heavy. And at that point, it still took me a long time because I would go, still going to the big gyms that didn't work for me and getting frustrated and going through that whole vicious cycle again. But once I found the Wellness Club, and I also found, in addition to my Fitbit, there's a free app, and it's called MyFitnessPal, that you can download on any phone, and it will track MyFitnessPal. And
it's free.
Free, absolutely free. It will track your calories, your carbs, sugar, sodium.
Wow.
And it tracks how much you exercise too. And it takes maybe 1 to 2 minutes out of the day just to fill this out. And I'm telling you, this thing has been a godsend because you can look at it and go, wow, I didn't realize I'm almost at my sodium level, because it will stop you at 2,300 milligrams. The American Heart Association recommends between 1,500 and 2,300, trying to keep it around, and I always try to keep mine around 1,500. So I read food labels, things like as simple as soup. If you go in the grocery store and you pick up an average can of soup, you look at it, it'll say 700 milligrams for one serving.
Just for one serving?
So if you have
Not
the whole
for the
can,
whole
that's
can?
1,400 at a pop.
Wow.
My heart would be doing the mambo, you know.
Hey, mambo Italiano.
But if you go into the organic aisles, they have low sodium soup where the whole can is maybe only 100.
Does it taste as good?
It tastes different. When you first taste it, you're going to go, oh, what's wrong with this soup? But all the time, you're so used to tasting all that heavy salt. Now you're tasting the actual flavor of the soup. I can put a little pepper in it, but now I could never eat the other soup.
That reminds me of when I was losing weight. I lost from 270 down to 200.
Which is great.
Which one of the things I did was with sugars. I used to put a lot of sugar and cream in my coffee. Now I drink it black most of the time.
And I drink my tea without sugar too.
And in the beginning, it didn't taste right, but you get used to it.
You absolutely
it tastes
get used to it.
just as good, if not better, than with all them
Right.
sugar. And got rid of Boston cream donuts too.
Well, there's some things like that I don't really eat anymore.
Right.
Like pizza is one of them because there's so many carbs.
How about instead of a whole pizza, only one slice or half a slice?
I mean, I could probably do a half a slice. Chinese food.
Or a vegetable pizza.
Vegetable pizza I can eat.
Yeah.
Chinese food, only the diet food because
Only
there's a
the
lot
diet
of sodium in that. And the way that I used to eat, I used to love, bar food. Like fried zucchini, fried mozzarella sticks, fried chicken wings. That was really hard to kind of wean myself off of that.
Right. So fried foods are no good too.
And then I mean, you could maybe have a little bit, and it sounds hard to do, and it is hard.
Mary, how about portion size? You go into an Italian restaurant,
Oh, well,
they feed you like Mama Italiano's feeding you big portions of veal cutlet or whatever.
To be honest with you, I don't weigh my food because, I work out a lot and I lift weights a lot. So I don't weigh a piece of chicken or
Well,
a
I
piece
wouldn't
of fish.
say weigh it, but eat
portions,
half of
yes.
it.
If you go to the restaurant and your plate looks like the size of Godzilla, you may want to cut it in half, or I do that a lot
Make
now.
2 or 3 meals.
Make 2 meals out of
Bring
it.
a cat bag home. with
That's
you,
right.
Or a
Bring a
doggy bag. They usually look shocked when I say at a restaurant, I'll leave the leftovers for my cat bag.
Yeah, because that's a big thing too, because portion size, is, Americans we're used to like big, double portions or
Not
whatever.
6 or 8 ounce steak, but 2-pound steaks.
Yeah, so it's, I once went to a health resort a few years ago, and they had, they served you food, and everybody's going, oh my gosh, what's wrong with this food? It's a tiny little, and they said, well, that's the portion you're supposed to have. And well, that looks like it's for a cat, I mean, you don't have to severely deny yourself.
Right.
But, things like snacking, like I've fallen in love with apples with peanut butter as a snack because apple's healthy. The peanut butter is going to have the protein in it. Or vegetables with hummus, or, any type of fruit.
Or fruits or vegetables instead of
the
cheesecake
cookies
or cookies.
Exactly.
What about cheesecake? Is that good for your diet?
I mean,
little slice.
It's little. If somebody offers
not
me
a
a piece
big
of
slice.
cheesecake, I'm not going to deny it. But it's just and you can't do it all overnight. That's the thing. It takes a little bit of time, and that's why when through the book I did specific chapters. Like for me, what started me first was working out, and I think that's the most important thing that I can tell people. Is exercise. Move every day. You don't have to join a gym. You can go, you and I were talking, you like to go to the mall. You could mall walk. It's beautiful weather out now. Just go out and walk. There's so many places to walk. As long as you're moving every day.
And that's good for your mind as well.
Oh, it's great
Not
for
only
your mind.
body, but your mind.
Right. And then once you get that, I say start with working out because it does put you in a better mood. And when you're in a better mood, then you're going to think twice about, well, maybe I don't want that bologna sandwich or something. Maybe I don't want that cheese steak or a pizza. I did all this work. maybe I'm going to go for a piece of fish or grilled chicken and a salad instead. You're in a right frame of mind, so you're thinking better because you've worked out. And then once you marry the two, that's half the battle. And then you just, I have a chapter on there on staying motivated. I have a chapter on setbacks. I'm the queen of setbacks. I've had 1 million of them. So, I talk about that and what to do.
I'm in a setback right now. I've gained 25 pounds over the winter with all this depressing weather we've had.
Yeah.
I mean, it rains every day,
yeah.
not every other day. When we see the sun now, it's a tremendous thing like today.
Well, you know what? Out. You just have to, what we're saying, just say, okay, I messed up today. So what? So what? Who cares?
You get back on the next
You get back on. I mean, I have one funny story. Years ago, I went to, it was a Chinese buffet, all you could eat, and I literally split my pants as on the way out. I mean, you can't make this up. and different funny things that have happened to me over the years.
Mary, I want to talk a little bit about your past and the people you came in contact with. And we know a lot of them mutually.
Right.
Mike and Casey from
WHUD.
Yes,
absolutely. They're great. I worked with both of them at WHUD. Yeah. I still keep in touch with Casey.
You probably knew Jerry Desmond.
Jerry Desmond, absolutely.
The weatherman, he's still there. He's about 90 years old now, or 80. I forgot his name. He does calendars. Jim Witt, was he there?
Jim Witt, yes.
And with another station, a good friend of mine, Bobby Lloyd.
Oh, Bobby Lloyd, yeah.
WFAS, because I lived in southern Westchester when I was younger.
I worked
used to listen to
both
WFAS.
the AM and the FM.
Wow.
And Bobby did the morning show on the AM for years. Yeah. He was great. He was such a nice, kind soul,
And that's what Mike reminds me of on the morning show on WHUD. Mike Bennett. And Casey Morbido.
I see Casey out all the time. She's always out doing different events.
She's always out doing events.
Yes, yeah.
For a while, she was doing a cable show, and I was her director right here.
Okay.
Yeah. But she's doing other things now, I think pop-up video and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we got to work on our diets, stay healthy. It's such a small world. We're mentioning First Presbyterian Hospital and their wellness club. This morning, I signed up with Peekskill seniors to go to a nutritional class at the
they
same
actually
hospital
have cooking classes there too.
I think it's a cooking class. Yeah.
I went to one,
and the first thing was on Channel 12. Mr. Kelly. He's a very famous.
Oh, Peter Kelly, yes.
I think he conducted the first one.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I took a cooking class there. It's very interesting, and you get to eat the food.
Yeah.
And it's all healthy too, so because it's a hospital, so they're not going to give you anything unhealthy.
So you've come a long way. A little girl from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You wanted a career in journalism, and you attained that. You're writing a book, and you've attained that. What other goals do you still have in your young life?
Well,
or do you have any more goals?
A lot of people ask me if I'm going to be writing a second book. I don't know. I'm tossing around different ideas, but I haven't really decided.
Maybe on marketing or motivation or something.
I don't know. I want to do something. If I do something in it, I probably want to do something funny.
Funny.
Because funny is
good. Well, the world needs happiness with everything
and
that's
I think,
going on.
When people are in a place where they're trying to lose weight and get healthy, sometimes they can be kind of depressed. And I think that's why this book is so different, is because it will definitely make them laugh.
It's going to make
everybody that has read it.
Give me an example from the book of something that would make them laugh.
My best friend who. I don't know whether I can hold the picture up. Her name is Mary, ironically, Mary Adams, and I did dedicate the book to her. And she's up there now saying, "What are you doing? Why are you showing my picture?"
You told me, did she pass away?
She passed away in 2015.
And this is Mary Adams?
Mary Adams. She was in a car accident, and we were best friends from the age of 7. And the funny thing we used to do all the time is talk about weight every time we would talk. And we would have these crazy conversations. She would call me and say, "Well, I'm so fat," because she was in Philadelphia. I'm so fat that they had to just reinforce the Walt Whitman Bridge because I went over it. And I would say, well, you think that's bad? They had to do the same thing to the George Washington Bridge because I was going. She said, well, I got in the plane and it wouldn't take off, and we would go on and on with these crazy, funny. But,
sounds funny.
But so we would get ourselves in a good mood, even though we were both overweight. We would laugh about it, and instead of crying about it, and ironically, toward right before she passed, we were both making successes. Because 2015 is kind of the year when I really started, when I joined the gym there and really started to make some significant progress. And she did too. She liked to walk. She walked a lot. But that's, some other things. I joined a weight loss center. I won't say what one it is. I think it's out of business now.
Yeah.
It was in Mount Kisco. It was, and I'm not making this up, it was between a Boston market and a pastry shop.
Oh, no good.
You can't make that up.
Like I know of one in a mall right next to a big pizza place. They go in and work out.
What were they thinking?
They go next door and have lasagna and stuffed shells of manigold, and there goes all the workout.
Gosh, it's just,
But it seems to be a constant thing with Americans. We seem to be overweight, even by a little bit, compared to, let's say, Asian people.
Well, there's a lot of food
it's
here.
Because of our diet and
diet.
The abundance of food.
Abundance, and there's look around. Look how many fast food restaurants there
and
are.
in the restaurants, giving too big of a portion. Maybe they should have a smaller portion menu where they charge you less.
They should do that. Yeah. But the other thing that's helpful is, like I said, I work full time. I'm in White Plains. I go to the gym every night.
Right.
Either there or I'm walking, and I get home, it's around 7:30.
Right.
I need something really fast. So what I rely on, which is perfectly fine, is like the boil and bag vegetables without the sauce, boil and bag rice. Sometimes I have a grill, so I'll do grilled chicken or grilled fish, or sometimes I'll just buy a rotisserie chicken and just take the skin off.
Mary, I have to stop you right there. You've been such an interesting guest, one of my best. The time has run out. What do you have to say in closing to my vast audience?
Just, I just want to say thank you again for having me on.
Thank you for being an excellent guest.
If anybody wants a good chuckle and help with losing weight, just look for I'm Lazy and I Love to Eat.
I'm Lazy and I Love to Eat. The book, is there a website or any
there is a website,
contact number that you want to be reached at?
The website is just lazylovetoeat.com.
Okay, thanks again, folks. I hope you enjoyed this show. Hope it helps you lose a few pounds, helps you get to eat healthier and enjoy this book, and maybe we'll all have a slimmer waist in 6 months when I'm inviting you back for a second time on my show.
Thanks, George.
Thank you, Mary. It's been a pleasure. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.